Salutations, my friends, and thank you for tuning in to a very special edition of Factions of Freedom. I'm your host, Noisera, Freedom Faction, whichever one you prefer, and this episode is titled The Biggest Lies Told to Mankind, and ironically enough, this episode was streamed on our other team's channel, the Underground Resistance Network, with Laurie and Robbie Dee. So with that being said, let's jump right into it.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this edition of 3 Minutes to Midnight. My name is Laurie Alexander, and I'm joined tonight by two co-hosts, not just one, but two. We've got Robbie Dee, and we've got Factions of Freedom, EJ Clinton. Hey, guys.
Hey, Laurie, how you doing? Hey, EJ.
Salutations, Laurie. Salutations, Robbie. Salutations, team. How are you guys?
Oh, I'm great.
Doing great.
Yeah, good weekend.
Yep, doing pretty good.
Normal weekend?
How are you guys?
Yeah, again, it's very quiet. No, we're definitely up to something.
I took this weekend more of like a personal weekend.
I mean, you know, we've got the usual run of fake news and whatnot, and Hillary's back in the news again, and in and out, in and out. But other than that, you know, everything seems to be very, very quiet. Yeah, they're definitely up to something. Yeah.
Well, we came into the weekend with that whole story about the Scientologists having people locked up as patients. We came in with Trump's latest appointee being accused of sexually assaulting male students for like at least 5 times, and Scientology facilities being shut down. Cops find patients held in prisoner. Operation Pacifier, where they make 900 arrests due to the dark web pedophile network. So there's stuff going on. And as far as the weekend, you know, they've definitely been quiet.
There's stuff going on, but yeah. I mean, we got to mainstream media, like the stories you just talked about there, EJ, nothing.
No.
On mainstream media.
They didn't play it. They didn't air it or anything.
No. You see, we're in the season of wars and rumors of wars, and as far as Satan's agenda is, as long as he can. I mean, he knows he's going for punishment. He's not in a hurry to get there.
Ooh, I have a quick thing I want to tell you guys about. This is if anything something to talk about later. I have a Bible verse that kind of like alludes to the idea of the manipulation of time. Speaking of getting extra time, Robbie, I just wanted to kind of play off of that. Excuse me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's Daniel chapter 7 verse 25, and he talks about how they'll say harsh words against the Most High, and then he'll wear out the saints of the Most High, and he'll speak great evils against the Most High, and then they'll be given into times and times again, and then they also talk about the dividing of time in the actual quote. It's crazy. I know it's a leap of faith, but just the fact that, you know, they'll try to spread out time amongst all this wickedness.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to do that.
There's also another verse where, hold on a second, let me think real quick.
Yeah, they're not gonna do that all in one go. They're gonna stretch it out as long as they can, and you can't wear somebody out over a week, over a period of months. You could do that with the same old.
Get up again, Robbie.
They keep people in the fold. Okay, hold on.
Sorry. Okay.
That's the idea, though. Perpetual distraction.
Yeah. So bringing up that scripture, you just brought up Daniel chapter 7 verse 25, and it says, "And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given unto his hand until a time and times in the dividing of time." And then also in Matthew, verse 22, we're told that except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So we're told, you know, in the verses, we're told about this whole time shift, time changes, the changing of laws, the changing of the times. which I think is interesting, because if you look back, Benjamin Frank, or you know, he did the whole daylight savings time, changing, you know, the times that we live in, changing the actual clocks, you know, that keep up track of our time.
And this is what you guys talk about too, and how like the Gregorian calendar is the calendar that we're on now, but how what year is it? I still need to like do an episode on that.
2017, guys. Agree on that.
Well, what if? Because I'm a little bit lost. Is there any way you guys can?
1600s.
1600s. All right. And so then,
are you able to hear Robbie, EJ?
What's that?
Are you able to hear Robbie? Because it might be just on my end.
Barely. I can barely hear him.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you. Yes.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Like Verizon.
1640. There was a guy on one of Laura's friends list that was doing a study of the Enoch calendar, and he reckoned that they put about 300 years onto the calendar. And we were about 1647, 1648, something like that. I mean, don't exactly quote me on that, but I can actually see the logic behind it, you know. From
right, when they changed the time, he wanted to make it was like, I don't know, don't quote us on these, because this is something that we weren't even planning on talking about, so I'm not prepared for it in my notes. But say I was going to change the calendar, and the calendar said the year was 650. And I was like, you know what, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add 350 onto it, make it an even 1,000. That's where we're going to start the calendar. Well, that's what happened. For a certain year, the person who implemented the new calendar decided that he wanted to add on years to make sure that it make it be a rounded number. I think it was 1,000. And so this took off, and they added these 300 and some odd years onto the calendar. So yeah, we're not in the year 2017.
But there's also a sinister aspect to it. Obviously,
well, yeah, because
would be perfect to actually try and offset Bible prophecy.
Yep.
Right.
Well, that's what we were talking about the last time.
And that goes all the way back into Deuteronomy 28, curses, as well.
Right.
It's very linked
well, yeah,
to
because I mean, it says that no man shall know the day or the hour of the coming of the second coming, and that's because we don't even know what day and hour it is.
There you go.
So I mean, and this is something obviously the Most High told us about it. He warned us about it in the Bible. You know, I mean, here we have Matthew 24:22. We have Daniel 7:25, talking about times changing, talking about, you know, things that will be changed. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Laurie, tell us about now. You've watched that video about the Lucifer, the Satan, the Prince of the Power of the Air video for Days of Noah. I mean, was that not pretty accurate of the description?
I've got to say, it's probably the most accurate compilation, most accurate video information compilation of what we've been trying to tell people about on Satan, deceiver, how he's the God of lies, how he's the God of the air, AIR, AER.
Yeah.
I'm going to put what we're talking about. Let me go to my Facebook here. Let me see if I can get it on the Underground Resistance Network so you guys can see it here.
Yeah.
On our page yesterday, I watched it, and it was amazing.
So, yeah. It's a short video as well. It's 28 minutes long.
Yeah, not a very long video, but wow.
And was it like a summary on Satan? Was it just like a relevant?
It's a critique. It is a factual critique on everything encompassing his agenda, and you can't go wrong with it. It explains in 28 minutes what we've spent the last 3 years trying to explain to people in complete, in utter detail. It doesn't skip over
Yeah.
anything.
If you guys want to watch it, it's on our page. I'm going to put the link, copy this. I'll put the link in the description
All right.
in our chat for you guys, because I mean, it's just, I watched it last night.
And it's by Days of Noah, with Z instead of an S in Days. Days of Noah channel on YouTube. All his videos, particular subject, are on point. So, you know, when you come off air, I mean, feel free to go and have a look at his stuff. I'm trying to see if we can actually get him on the show. I've messaged him tonight and asked, hopefully, you know, we could have him as a guest on here and explain, you know, how he feels about stuff.
I'd be interested.
Speaking of change, you wanted to start off with something. We kind of got off track right off the bat, Robbie.
Yeah, well, we're gonna talk about a subject that came up tonight on Richard from Boston's video about what people would look like in 1,000 years. Well, it wasn't what he was saying.
I saw that.
It was about a certain website that had said that account apparently, and it reminded me of Facebook recently. I mean, I don't know how many people that are listening tonight are actually on Facebook, but have you noticed there's a massive trend in video pranks? You know, people.
What do you mean by that?
People pranking people on video and making videos to get likes and shares on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's trendy.
I saw a video tonight. Yeah, there's a boyfriend and girlfriend, and he's pranking her. I mean, he what he did, he was putting chili sauce on a set of her panties, right? And he thought that was quite funny, and she put it on, and she went jogging, and it was like 8,000 whatever it was, and you know she was in a lot of distress and whatnot. And I've been seeing lots of these videos trending, right? Now, you'll get millions, you'll get thousands of views. You might get 1.7 million views on it, yeah, right? And you know, you get people liking it or hating it or whatnot, or talking about it and all this and that, yeah. Now, doesn't it feel strange, right, that all these videos are now come up? I mean, last year it was the mannequin challenge, and then the year before that it was the water challenge, the
ice water challenge. It was the baptism by water and by fire that same within a short period of time. It was the ice water bucket challenge, and then it was the fire challenge.
Well, this is what we talk about, right? We don't, you know, where did all this stuff come from? Well, it comes from the Tavistock Institute for Human Relations. Yeah, and they are very successful at doing it. But people will be talking about prank videos or making prank videos or doing the next trend, but they won't concentrate on what we are going to talk about next.
That's a good point, Robbie, and I definitely agree. And I'll let you have it after this. I feel like whenever people buy into these trends and these things like that, whatever pops up regularly, I feel like that's a soft way of programming people. That's a soft way of like having people look at their phone, get the commands, and then do the next thing, implement it in the real world. And if you ask me, it's like a beta test, or like a pre-test or an entry into the transhumanism world. So I definitely agree with everything you're saying. And that's why they switch it up so frequently, is because it doesn't give people time to think about, well, what is this really doing to me? How do I look doing this? You know, like you said, they're doing it for the likes, they're doing it for the shares, they're doing it for the view. The guy doesn't care if he's putting chili on his girlfriend. He's trying to get those shares. He's trying to get those views up, and that's the problem. That's how society's switching. Is we're choosing to get programmed.
Yep. And the great thing about it all is, this is biblical, right? What did the scriptures say? People will become lovers of self.
Right.
Selfies.
Speaking of lovers of self, you know, the Irons just mentioned it in the chat room. The Snapchat, the animal facial memes, the Snapchat. I'm seeing an uptick in that also.
Absolutely.
Real quick.
No, these things don't come out from nowhere. You know, people really need to understand, and they need to do their research on the Tavistock Institute. Yeah, it explains it all. I mean, I put up a great post the other day about the creation of the Beatles and other pop artists by the Tavistock Institute and what its purpose is, you know, and how we've been deceived for so long into being distracted. There you go. Look, you know, people will spend more time doing that than they will into researching the truth because it's not convenient for them. You know, they'll do things that are not convenient. Scriptures tell us about that as well.
So many selfies and so little self-knowledge.
Exactly.
Right.
The more you see,
Exactly.
the less.
Breaking up again, Robbie.
Okay, I'll come out again.
Okay, I'm going to play the. This is not Richie from Boston's. This is not Richie from Boston's video on this, but this is where he got it from. It's called Tech Insider. And Tech Insider says that's where Richie from Boston got his information for his last video. Want me to play it, Robbie?
Yes.
They advocate transhumanism hard in this video.
Yeah.
What humans will look like in 1,000 years. Humans are still evolving, so where will evolution take us in 1,000 years? Chances are we'll be taller. Humans have already seen a boom in height over the last 130 years. In 1880, the average American male was 5'7". Today, he's 5'10". We may also merge with machines that can enhance our hearing, eyesight, health, and much more. Right now, there are hearing aids that let you record sounds, generate white noise, and even come with a built-in phone. Another example is a team out of the University of Oregon, which is developing bionic eyes that help the blind to see. But it's not impossible to imagine that this technology could become a tool for seeing what we currently consider invisible, like different energies of light such as infrared and X-rays. There will eventually be a day where prosthetics are no longer just for the disabled. However, it's not just our outside appearance that will change. Our genes will also evolve on microscopic levels to aid our survival. For example, an Oxford-led study discovered a group of HIV-infected children in South Africa living healthy lives. It turns out they have a built-in defense against HIV that prevents the virus from advancing to AIDS. And with gene editing tools like CRISPR, we may eventually control our genes and DNA to the point where we make ourselves immune to disease and even reverse the effects of aging. Another way to jumpstart the human evolution on a different path is to move some of us to Mars. Mars receives 66% less sunlight than Earth, which can mean humans on Mars will evolve larger pupils that can absorb more light in order to see. And since Mars's gravitational pull is only 38% of Earth's, people born on Mars might actually be taller than anyone on Earth. In space, the fluid that separates our vertebrae expands, which led American aerospace engineer Robert Zubrin to suggest that Mars's low gravity could allow the human spine to elongate enough to add a few extra inches to our height. However, not even a move to Mars could spark the biggest change in human evolution that we may have coming in the next 1,000 years: immortality. The path to immortality will likely require humans to download their consciousness into a machine. Right now, scientists in Italy and China are performing head transplants on animals to determine if you can transfer consciousness from one body to another. They claim their next big step is to transplant human heads. Whatever happens in the next 1,000 years, whether we merge with machines or become them, one thing is certain: the human race is always changing, and the faster we change and branch off from Earth, the better chance we have of outrunning extinction.
I'm
Oh,
sorry,
wow.
but I'm sorry, but my intelligence just de-evolved about 33% now. I might actually go and knock on the Freemasons' door in a minute and ask if I can come in and be an intern for them. I feel that stupid.
I have one thing to say on this, of thermodynamics. Anybody want to take a crack at that?
Go on.
Thermodynamics clearly states that there's no such thing as an increase. Everything must decay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Must decay.
You know, I'm looking at this video, and basically everything they said is all part of like the transhuman agenda, from CRISPR-Cas9 to, you know, genetically modifying your genes and trying to edit out diseases in their eyes, to the off-world colonies on Mars and things like that, to even their synthetic immortality notion. Like that whole concept. And if you ask me, I feel like that's what David Rockefeller did. He probably transferred his consciousness to something else. But if you ask me, that's still not, it's not real.
Do you honestly think that he'd actually take the chance of dying? Do you really think that he would really want to face the judgment after what he's done?
Nope.
He'd want to carry on doing what he's doing.
Yep.
You know, and hope that Satan actually gets the plan to smash reality in and do what they're going to do to offset judgment. But just saying that, I mean, this isn't new. I mean, all the millennials out there might not know this, but, you know, back in the 70s when we were kids, we had things like the Bionic Man, the $6 million man, and the Bionic Woman, and the Man from Atlantis. And we had lots of TV programs that used to be openly promoting transhumanism, but packaged as entertainment, and Doctor Who and things like that. So they've been at this a long time. You know?
Yep, with Cybermen.
So the medium of entertainment. Yeah. Yeah, little did we know. If we knew back then, boy, nobody would have believed us.
Well, that's what's crazy is I've definitely had people like make the analogy or make like the relation to like Cybermen, or at least like one Doctor Who episode where they have these weird ear pods in their heads, and then, you know, they're all going about their business, and then they randomly stop during whatever they're doing, like in the entire day. It's like a flash mob of people, but they just all stop, and then they upload information, or they download information, or they basically receive signals via these headphones that are attached to these people. And then you look at what's happening today, it's like predictive programming. It's like they were trying to tell us, you know, like we were saying beforehand, with these trends and these pranks and these things that people do. It's all part of that. It's all part of the beta test to condition us to look at our phones, take commands from the technology, and then implement it here in the real world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's all about programming. I mean, what did we have the other day? We had Star Wars Day, May the 4th be with you, and Revenge of the 6th or whatever.
Revenge of the 5th.
Was like, I actually sat and watched it all because I used to be a Star Wars fan. Yeah, I used to watch it avidly and believe in the nonsense that they churn out. But, you know, I sat there and I watched them, and I'm like, do you know what? Being a flat earther, it makes a whole new thing about Star Wars, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, okay. But then again, I read the Book of Enoch and about the luminaries. So, you know, find me these planets. Yeah, find me these planets, and I got a bridge in San Francisco to sell you. Yeah.
And then you got to try to talk about weaponizing space with people too.
Oh, God, space.
No, like the atmosphere, like literally putting up like ships and glasses up there, and then just like all kinds of stations and stuff to like have that much more surveillance on us. It's crazy. Yeah,
but how long are they going to be tuning out? Oh, we're going to go to Mars. I mean, how long can they stretch it out before that little life falls flat on its face? I mean, Laurie brought up a good point today about the fact. Oh, we can't. Somebody said the other day we can't go to the moon because we destroyed the technology. Eh?
Yeah, have you heard about that, EJ?
What? We destroyed moon technology, so we can't go back?
Is it on our channel, Robbie?
I can't remember right where it actually came
from.
I know it.
So we can't go to the moon because we don't have the technology, or it was destroyed?
Yeah, they destroyed it apparently.
They destroyed the moon, or they destroyed. I'm so confused. Okay,
the technology no longer exists for us to go to the moon.
Oh, really? Yeah. But we can talk about Mars.
Yeah, but we can talk about Mars.
Okay.
Hold on a sec. I have to. What I do now is I pull it up on my phone for the voice for the. Yeah. And then I play it. Okay.
That's good. This guy's a NASA astronaut, Don Pettit.
Yeah, listen to this.
No, he's an asshole. I mean,
mockery when it comes to NASA. I find it very interesting what he says during this interview from a few months back. He basically states, "Go back to the moon has been destroyed." He'd love to go back in a nanosecond, but that technology does not exist anymore. But then he goes on to talk about. First off, before even showing speaking about, again, this technology, which I find very bizarre, saying it's been destroyed. How was it destroyed? He doesn't go into details how this so-called technology that they used to go to the moon years ago. Let's take a look first up, again, when it comes to mockery in this video clip. Basically, again, mocking his followers during this presentation. Take a listen to what he says here.
Astronauts are really, really good at making pictures in space that look like you've never left the planet. In fact, it's almost hard-pressed to tell whether you're in space or not in this picture. You know, we've got some fancy backdrops, I guess.
Person this is, you know, basically, again, if you follow my channel and see my previous videos, astronaut Don Pettit, of course, none of these men have been in space. They're nothing more than basically actors playing a role on the world stage, making the masses, the millions upon millions of people in space when they've never been in space at all. Now, I'm going to play the video clip itself with Don Pettit again being interviewed. Just very bizarre interview. Not going into details how this so-called technology to go to the moon has been destroyed. And at the very end, I'll point out something very interesting what he says. People need to read between the lines. Take a listen.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again. But going to Mars should be one of the next series of steps that humans do. The first step should be going back to the moon for a number of technical reasons and exploration reasons, and then after that, Mars, maybe high orbit in Venus atmosphere, maybe going to Europa. There's all kinds of targets to go to, places of interest in our solar system. The only limit to human future is in our own imaginations.
He says the only limit to human future is our own imagination. He's not saying it's based on technology, what's feasible based off technology. He says it's based on our imaginations. So it comes down to it, I'll show in a second with William Shatner stating, science and science fiction are one and the same. There's no difference whatsoever.
My question is, through your career and your writing and your acting, you've inspired so many people to enter the sciences. How do you balance science with science fiction? They're both the same. The mystery of science fiction is what I'm talking about. Science and science fiction are essentially the same. Thank you very much.
How do you prove a black hole? How do you know those gravitational waves prove the collision of two black holes?
Somehow, eventually, they are able to observe phenomena.
No, they can't observe. It's too far away. It's too theoretical. You know what they're saying is true. You know what it really is? It's all science fiction.
Science and science fiction are essentially the same.
Science fiction are essentially the same, and he said, and the scientists, NASA scientists said that we destroyed what we needed to go to the moon. What do you guys think about that?
Sounds a little counterintuitive.
The frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Sorry.
It sounds counterintuitive to me. Doesn't really doesn't pan out right if you ask me.
Don't you think that there's so many lies that have come to the fore, right? And when you put them all together, it just makes it so painfully obvious that they're overreaching. Now they are overreaching with their agendas. And
they're like teenage boys, and not to pick on teenage boys. Okay, let's not even pick. Let's pick on adult males. Okay, it's like adult males. Okay, and not to pick on you guys, but I'm just saying, you know, and I know I'm gonna get some slack from this from everybody in the chat room and everybody in the comment section, but you know, it's like you just you have this, just you can't help yourself but lie. You just keep continuing on lying. You've told so many lies that you can't even keep track of them anymore, and they just keep piling up and piling up and piling up. And you forgot what you told last week. You forgot what you said last year. You forgot what you said to this person. You forgot what you said to this person. here's the thing, guys, with technology the way it is now, with the internet the way it is, with our ability to get information at a moment's notice in a split second, cross-reference what was said last week. We can cross-reference what was said last month, last year. We can cross-reference these things, and we can come right out and tell you you're a habitual liar, and that is exactly what NASA is.
I mean, NASA in Hebrew means to deceive, or nasa.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, they worship the serpent on the logo. But I mean, okay, I had a TV channel, right? I own a TV channel, right? And I told everybody on that channel that an asteroid was going to hit, and news got around that not a lot of people would believe it. But maybe all of a sudden I own 10 news channels, and I said the same thing, right? You could be able to spread the lie about a bit. Imagine owning 1,000 news channels, or owning all the world's news channels and telling the same thing, an asteroid's coming at it, or you put a program out, a whole series. Oh, it's Asteroid Week on the History Channel, and then a month later it comes on the news. Oh, there's an asteroid gonna hit, right? Mm-hmm. You could make the world believe that, right? Whether there is one or not, yeah, because that's how the mind control works. So you program people with nonsense and nonsense, and say you swapped asteroid impact by Mars landing. Yeah, we're going to go to Mars. You told enough people that you're going to go to Mars, enough people are going to believe it. Yeah, they're going to believe you went to the moon. They're going to believe that.
Robbie, wait, Robbie.
Yeah.
I watched us go to the moon. I remember sitting in my grandfather's lap, 1969. I remember it was July 1969. I was 3 years old. I remember this. I have a very good memory when it comes to my childhood. I remember sitting on my grandfather's lap watching them go to the moon. You telling me they didn't do that?
Well, apparently not.
I believe the moon's inhabited. I'm going to come out right and say it. I think there's still people in the moon.
Oh, it was Wallace and Gromit went there on a grand day out.
No, I just believe like there's a reason why we didn't go back to the moon, because the moon was already inhabited. There's that whatever's going on in the moon.
We can't go to the moon, right? Because it is the same size as the sun. It's the same distance equally from the sun, which is not 93 million miles away. It sits within the firmament, and the scriptures in Genesis 1 tells us exactly upon its creation, it'd be impossible for them to go to the moon, and even if they couldn't by default, because they lied about the size and distance of it. Yeah, it would look very silly if somebody stuck a telescope up there and found out that they were giant astronauts walking on the moon.
Well, not only that, if you think about it, you can't get past the Van Allen belt. And NASA's already admitted that.
Yeah.
Can't get past the Van Allen belt, aka the firmament. They can't get past it. So
there you go. More lies upon more lies.
Is that why they're doing like the HARP shooting of like the ionosphere and everything else they're doing with the chemtrails, right?
It's probably the same reason why they shot nuclear weapons up into the atmosphere in Operation Fishbowl. Yeah, they're trying to crack the firmament to try and get through, but they can't do that.
You know what's weird is while I was trying to go back and try to find like articles and things that happened around like the same time, ironically enough, that was also like another one of the articles that kind of popped up in the May 2006 time period, is how there was like stuff going on with our magnetosphere and how it was getting wonky. But that's whenever I don't think it was in May, but I think that was also the same time that they started trying to shoot plasma bombs, the Air Force and the Navy, into the atmosphere. But just crazy, the time period of it all.
Well, you know, we're
here's something I want to touch on, guys. Talking about NASA.
Yeah.
I want you guys, hold on a second. Cassini is, when is Cassini?
Oh, please don't. I've had enough laughter for the weekend. Yeah, Cassini.
Cassini is set to hit Saturn. It's not, that's Casino, Laurie.
Cassini.
That's how my mind's at. Woo! Cassini. Set to hit Saturn. Okay.
Okay. Apparently, no, you have to.
Cassini is set to hit Saturn. I believe in September or October of this year. I'm not sure of the date. But go ahead and research Project Lucifer.
Like with the Lucifer telescope?
No. Project Lucifer is using using Cassini to actually ignite into our second sun.
Wow.
Oh, please. Oh, man. You need to go back to the film 2010 when they ignited Jupiter in the movie. Yeah. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
They could come up with something a little bit more original. I mean, it just beggars belief. And I you know, I hate to take this tone, but I've seen so much. I saw a video today, actually. Someone's actually explaining about the telescopes, that the you know, like the Lucifer telescope and all the other telescopes, and they said they're pure nonsense. That's why they are controlled by the Vatican and controlled by, you know, all the world powers, because they don't want you actually seeing what's actually going on inside these telescopes, because they're actually looking at nonsense, you know. But then I'll go back to another video where somebody quite ingeniously actually created a technology that could analyze stars, right, to actually show you what they actually look like, and they don't actually look like anything like stars.
No, they're not. They're not solid entity. They're not solid things. They're actually, if you guys look up the what is it called, the electric universe.
Yep.
Here's this is Project Lucifer. Could the plutonium fuel on board the Cassini mission cause a nuclear chain reaction on Saturn? Credit to NASA and U.S. Department of Defense.
Yeah.
So the idea is just to shoot like massive lasers or explosive material at Saturn, or
whatever they've packed into, because supposedly, I'm going to say supposedly what they've packed into Cassini will be used to ignite it. I'm not really sure on what they're talking about. Where is it? Right here again.
I mean,
why is the destruction of the natural order always so scientific to these people?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a betting man, but I can guarantee that satellite thing, that Cassini, is sitting in some garage somewhere, probably in area in area 52. Yeah, you know, they've never.
What's interesting, guys, is the fact that they chose the planet Saturn. We know that Saturn is, you know, Lucifer.
Mm-hmm.
Saturn is, you know, their form of the Saturn worship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The planet Saturn, along with the other planets, back in the beginning of time, were not where they are now. We know that it was closer to the Earth. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it just seems odd that they chose. First of all, they chose to name this Project Lucifer, and they chose the planet Saturn.
Yeah.
Well, isn't their whole idea to get us back to what they call the Golden Age? The
Golden Age, yeah. Yep. But I always refer back to the Book of Enoch, where he explains the luminaries, and one passage in particular where he describes that they went off their prescribed course, and they will actually get a punishment which is not equal to the fallen angels and whatnot, yeah, which they equally deserve. Which means there's a good possibility that they would have moved position, because they're actually defying the actual commands and laws of the Most High, and they are actually part of this deception.
Well, isn't it? Sometime last year, everybody was trying to make a huge deal about Saturn's hexagon changing, or some pattern on Saturn changing. Do you guys know what that was about?
Yeah, let me pull it up here.
Or if that has to do with any kind of relation, you know.
Well, you know, I can remember some of the videos that Brown Saturn's Eye did, particularly about Saturn and basically about Lucifer's matrix, you know, and I can see where that correlates with what we're talking about, you know, and you know, I find it quite fascinating. Some of the subject matter quite fascinating about, you know, the connection between Saturn and, you know, everything that's going on right now.
Well, that's what's crazy
And,
about this electric universe, or this electric, the electric universe theory, or the electric universe model, is they're trying to, like they said before, is get the planets back into, I guess, back into alignment, and then that would create like an energetic bridge that they're trying to do. And I think a lot of that ties in with CERN as well. So like the electric universe model, as well as CERN and the planets, all of these things, they definitely correlate. But I'm not sure where, because, you know, they also say in the Bible that we're not supposed to be looking at stuff like this. And so I feel like when you look at what is it? What is this? This isn't cosmology. That's beauty.
There's a difference between astronomy and astrology.
Yes, astronomy and astrology. There you go.
Okay. There's a difference between astronomy and astrology. For everybody out there who says we're not supposed to be doing this, no, we're not supposed to be doing astrology. Astronomy is okay, because we're told in the Bible that the sun, the moon, and the stars were placed where they are as signs for the end times. We are to keep an eye on these. There'll be wondrous signs in the heavens in the final days. Astrology, what Satan has done, like he does with everything that is of God, he counterfeits it. He pretty much
divination, basically.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, he pretty much bastardization of it, okay? And, and it's used for the self, the ego, the self, the id. He's turned it around. Now we use it to, I can't decide what I'm going to wear today. Let me check my charts, stuff like that. That's what we're not supposed to be doing. But as far as astrology or astronomy is of God. And yeah, we can keep an eye on the planets and that stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, to actually make you believe that 250 million people are all going to have the same day, right? Because they all was born under a certain star sign.
Right.
When you think about it, it's completely, utterly preposterous. It's
absolute
ridiculousness. Yeah.
And yet hundreds of thousands and millions of people believe it every day. Up on the screen, I've got a picture of Saturn's North Pole as a question. Now, maybe this is just me kind of thinking the way I think. Now, okay, we've got to go outside of the whole flat Earth thing. We got to go back to the globe theory. So this planet here, Saturn, is spinning around hundreds of thousands of miles per hour. That's okay, and it's spinning. You're spinning also. How the hell does it get to be a hexagon? Why wouldn't it be a circle?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, it's all about the cube worship, isn't it? Everything goes from the hexagon into the cube.
The cube, right?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it all goes to the cube again, and it just boggles the mind, really. I mean, Jeff Hayes, his book, the second part of the New World Rise of the New World Order, The Awakening, does explain this as well. I mean, if anybody listening hasn't actually got a copy, you really need to go on Amazon and get both copies of the book. The second book details everything, and everything goes back to Satan. It's not just the religious systems; it's the whole, everything. All the code and all the numerology, all of it. Everything goes back to the source, which is the same as the Matrix. Everything goes back to the source code, to the architect. And who's the architect? The light bringer, Lucifer.
And I think that's a yes. I'm glad you said that, because there's people don't understand that there's God and that the devil is the god of this world. Whenever they say that Lucifer is the god of this world, that means that he has dominion, but he does not win. And I think a lot of people, that's like a weird, not paradoxical statement, but it's a weird a weird concept to come to grasp with. Like, all the wickedness that's going on is being allowed by God, but it is being perpetrated by the god of this world, which is Satan, which is Lucifer. And so there's why only a certain time that's going to be allowed here on this planet. And I don't know, but like I'm trying to say, yes to what you are saying, Robbie, it all does go back to the devil, because this is all stuff that has been foretold. That's what we let in the actual episode with, was like with these verses, with the scripture, explaining how this stuff and the wickedness, you know, the lawlessness that we saw took place or taking place last year, and how it's carried over into this year, and how more things are happening in alignment. All of this stuff is foretold. It's been prophesied.
To Chronos, to time.
Absolutely.
You know, he's the God of time. You know, there's the passage where he took Christ upon after his 40-day fast, and he showed him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. So how did he manage to do that? Well, we must have a mastery of time, a manipulation of time. You know, except there's only one time that he can't manipulate, and that's the actual coming of Christ, of Messiah, of Jesus. You know, but in any time in between that, now he's had all this time to put together his master plan, all the way from the murder of Abel, the Cain and Abel, all the way through to now. So, you know, this is why it's called history, his story. He wants to make it his story, all about himself. Yeah. And you know, time is not on his side. But as we were talking before the show, you know, we've got wars and rumors of wars, right? He's gonna stretch that out as long as he can until he drops the hammer, until he drops the new world order straight into our laps, right? You know, because he knows where he's going for judgment, right? He knows pretty much when, you know, because he's manipulated time, but he knows that, you know, he's gonna have to try and stretch it out, because obviously he doesn't really want to go there. Would you want to go there after what you've done?
No.
Not
for how long he's been doing it too.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it is on a smaller scale. These people these Luciferians, these people that are involved with the pedogate, these Illuminati people, that's why they're trying to push for all this synthetic immortality, as we talked about with the Tech Insider video. The synthetic immortality of transferring your consciousness. This transhuman agenda is just that, is to try to extend extend what is happening before judgment. And in a weird way, I know this might sound strange, and I'm trying to put together like an episode or a video on it, is how indeed that they'll use this virtual reality, this augmented reality, this matrix, this transhumanism agenda to do that, to try to postpone judgment. How they'll make what seems like 5 years here and on our regular timeline, but they'll extend it to 20 years inside of this digital matrix that they're trying to have people go into, that doesn't have the same operations of time as we do. And I know that's going to sound weird, but the closer we get towards all this craziness hitting the fan, and the more we see like revelations taking place, we're going to start seeing even more crazier things, because Pandora's box has been opened. The wickedness is out, and we see this evil taking place. We see it growing. And whenever you see like all the different things that have taken place, you know, how it's been foretold, you know, what they're trying to hint at you, and you know where this all fits in the timeline of things. It's like, well, how can you deny it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you gotta understand, he didn't create this matrix. He hijacked it and he warped it and bastardized it for himself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not the creator. I mean, that's why when you talk to the Masons, they talk about how their God is known as the great architect.
The architect. Yep.
Yeah.
Think about what is an architect. An architect doesn't essentially create anything.
No.
Out of something that's already there. An architect doesn't, but he doesn't create.
Precisely.
Because I mean, the only thing the architect is the architect is a counterfeit of the creator.
Yeah. He wants to be the capstone.
The capstone.
You know, he wants to be the capstone where Christ is the cornerstone.
He wants to dethrone God. And that's where we get talking into things like the Tower of Babel.
Right, and he tells us, let me pull up the scripture.
And this is why the world doesn't believe it. And this is why the world doesn't believe in Satan, because it's not in your face as much as it will be, but it's getting there. It's getting more apparent day by day. You know, you see it through the music, you see it through the entertainment, you see it through the movies. I uploaded a video tonight exposing the new film, the Stephen King film, the Tower.
Yep.
You know, all the messages are starting to come more apparent. Each film that comes out on the big screen, all the TV episodes and the music. But at some point, it is going to be so out in the open once they reveal themselves to be who they are. Yeah, everybody is going to see it, right there. The choice is going to be made right there in front of you, and you ain't going to be able to hide from it. And it don't matter if you don't believe in anything, you don't believe what we're saying right now. There's going to be a time in the very not so distant future where it's going to be laid slap on the table. It's going to be laid bare. The veil is going to be lifted, and all these things that you thought were fantasy, that were in the movies or in books, that were myths, are all going to come out, and the world is going to be a whole lot stranger to you, right?
Yep.
And I just pray that enough people wake up in time to realize this, that, you know, the Bible, out of all the books that were ever written, either the Sumerian text or the Mayan text or whatever text, the Bible is the only book that is accurate to 100%, that tells you exactly what is going on, right? And this is why the Bible is being slammed out of any other book. And that video explained it as well.
Well, let me ask you a question, Robbie. If the Bible's not true, why is it outlawed in so many countries?
Exactly. Yeah. And it goes, and the same question goes about the apocrypha books, right? If they're so not canon, right? You know, and they don't want you to read it, why did they remove them, right? What was in there? What was in those books that they don't want you to know? Yeah.
Truth was in that.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of which, I was just going to say, go ahead.
The ability to defeat Satan at the end was in those books. The knowledge to defeat him was in those books. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine. I was going to say, you know, to kind of bridge what you guys are definitely saying, how there's a choice happening, how there's things happening incrementally, how we're seeing, I don't want to say like the end game, but how all this stuff is unfolding. It's like, I'll put it to you this way, on my screen, and if you screen share, I have, and we've talked about this too, Laurie, the ITEs, invisible terrestrial entities, and how there's an actual paper that came out that was published June 8th of 2016 and accepted in December of 2015, where they talk about how there's invisible entities that they can document. And now this is in 2015 and going into 2016. And what are we talking mostly about? We're talking about CERN. We're talking about towers. We're talking about portals. We're talking about prophecy. We're talking about them literally unlocking, and I don't want to sound hysterical, but literally unlocking the gates of hell, trying to mess with everything we see going on. And so whenever you have people, because there's bound to be psychological effects to everything that's going on, psychological, spiritual, mental, and everything else. And whenever we're talking about all of these things invading our world, destroying creation, messing with the natural order of things, that's what's happening. These people, as they said before, or as you guys said before, you know, them believing in the architect, Lucifer, the architect of this world, he's literally just being an alchemist here on this planet, manipulating everything that is happening energetically and physically. And so whenever he's trying to escape judgment, whenever he's trying to basically unleash hell upon us and to scapegoat us, that's what we see taking place here. Whenever these people are doing these types of occult experiments, this high sorcery, this techno sorcery, these things, that's all that we see taking place in front of us. This has become our reality because it was foretold, like you said, in the book of Enoch, and like you guys said before, the secret was in there. And that's why they've tried so hard to discredit it in so many different ways, to put it down, and to not even give us the full version. That's why we have to go out and literally seek the truth.
Absolutely. This is what I love about sci-fi movies and all these cartoons and whatnot. I absolutely love them now because they never fail to. They never let me down. They never fail because you can guarantee at some point it will involve a portal. Or something to do with an extraterrestrial or a demon, and people need to understand they're all one of the same. It's all part of the same subject. It's the same with ghosts and entities and spirits and ascended masters and whatnot, if people take the time and are intelligent enough to actually discern the information, you'll all eventually come to the same conclusion that it's all part of the deception matrix. And it's coming, people. I'm telling you now, they're going to play that card on you. They're going to play the alien card, right? You know, there's going to be another alien movie. In fact, on the 12th of May, we've got Alien Covenant coming out again. Wow, more alien xenomorph movies and whatnot. Yeah. They are putting it out there each and every time just to program you into it. It's like I said, you know, if you've got enough news channels, and you put out something, piece of information, and then a month later, oh, look in the sky. Oh my God, there's aliens. Oh, they were just talking about that last month. There you go. That's how they do this to you.
I'm going to stop sharing.
Programming.
Quick, hon, I want to show something here.
Please do.
Let's see. Let me go over to me. Where am I? Here we go. Okay. You guys.
Yeah, see, this is what I was asking you guys in the last episode is, do you think they'll try to plan a false rapture?
Oh, yeah.
Or do you think they'll try to set the stage for a false rapture because they have access to, like, because they know what they're doing? Do you think we're in the times to where they'll try to pull that false rapture?
Wow.
Well, here's the thing is, you know, if you look at the Illuminati card game and you type in, which I just did, false rapture, comes up. And look at it. First off, it's the blue for the blue beam. It's the UFOs over churches.
Oh,
absolutely.
You missed something there. Look again. Look in the sky. What can you see in the sky? Lightning. Satan. I witnessed Satan fall like lightning. And who said that? Christ said it.
Right.
Why did he say it? Because he was there when he saw it. And why did he see it? Because he was there from the beginning. And why is that? Because he's the Word. He is the Word.
Exactly.
Throw that in there. There you go.
I think that's exactly it. You know, with everything, and you know, this is one of the reasons why we do Paranormal Tuesdays, Laurie, to kind of bridge all this stuff together, is to see how people are having more and more encounters with quote unquote aliens, how more and more people are having encounters with hat men, shadow people, sleeping hag syndrome, and all these other, like, all the other things that do with the occult world, tracking how there's more and more demonic possession cases going up, and how they're happening around the world, is to show and illustrate how indeed, I don't want to say that they're, because I still need to, you know, I don't want to say they're setting a stage for the false rapture, but more of these things are happening because of all the other things that we see taking place, because of the involvement of the wickedness, because of the spirit cooking things that are going on, because of all this wickedness that is taking place for generations. And there's been like an effective link between, like, our world hell, or the hellverse, or however people want to look at it, whatever's right there that is adversely affecting us. It's been interacting with us for forever, and now these days, because of the lack of spiritual discipline, the lack of mental fortitude, the lack of any kind of morality, anything. And this is what we try to talk about a lot of on the show, is to give people that spiritual meat so they understand, or ask the questions like, why is all this taking place? Why don't people care? It's because, well, people would rather take pictures of themselves with the selfies instead of understanding, like, what's happening to the world, why more people are going underneath these trances, why more people are engaged to MTV and whatever the mainstream media lie is this week, instead of actually deciphering the truth, understanding how they're doing nothing but manipulation, and how after a while, whenever you're just becoming that much of a sheep, that much of a blind person, you're following everything that's going on, you're not going to understand how you're slowly being dripped into a pot of bubbling evil liquid oil, and how it's meant to subdue you, how it's just meant to take you away from wanting to know God, wanting to know, you know, what comes after, wanting to have any kind of understanding of just, like, I don't know, of your spiritual orientation. And I feel like that's because we have an entire generations, plural, of generations of like spiritually dead people. And now because it's coming to a head, we're seeing all that wickedness come to place. We're seeing like all the other entities that these generations of wickedness have produced. We're seeing like we're seeing it unfold. And I don't want to sound alarmist, but it's like, you turn on the news, if they're not trying to spin something, they're definitely not going to tell you the truth. They're practicing deception in front of you. That also comes from evil. There's no truth in this world right now. There's no light right now. I'll calm down and let you guys have it, but I'm just saying, you know, this is the world we have to live in.
Well, you're not going to find any truth in the churches. The church, the building, the institution, everything around it is an abomination to the Most High. The Spirit of the Most High does not reside in these churches. Yeah,
they don't.
No, he doesn't.
The Bible tells us of this, and unfortunately, when the end times do come, right, and Christ does come to put the world to right, then those churches are going to be the first buildings to crumble under the weight of the earthquake that will shake this world. Yeah, because of it doesn't reside in it. It never did, right?
Amen.
You know?
Exactly. It doesn't. It exactly. These mega churches with their spokespeople, you know, Joe Osteen and
TD
you know,
Jakes.
Cref Dollar, all of the ones that are the verbal, I want to say
Charlatans.
The charlatans, exactly. The prophets. The prophets, not the PROPHETS, but the PROFITS, the prophets, the money changers. They are the ones that are leading these people astray. They are the ones that don't teach anymore about, you know, the consequences of sin. They teach that it's okay, do it your way, YOLO. YOLO, you know, you only live once, people. Do it for you. God wants you to be happy, you know. The ones that are unfortunately, these mega churches, you know, are cesspools for Satan.
They're hollowed.
Satan stopped fighting these churches long ago when he joined them.
That's pretty powerful.
I'd even go a step further to say that he created them. Remember, he created religion. The Bible speaks against the religion in any form.
Yep.
Yeah. What's the biggest money-making operation in the world? Religion. Who's
what was it? Who's the okay, hold on. What's his name? It's leaving my head. Scientology guy. What's his name?
L. Ron Hubbard.
Hubbard.
Robert said, if you want to become a millionaire, create a religion.
There you go. Yeah. And
you want to get rich?
Who's one of the biggest actors in the world? Tom Cruise. What is he a member of? Scientology.
Yep.
Tom Cruise. As a matter of fact, have you been watching that not Kirstie Alley? What's her name?
Ellen DeGeneres.
Ellen DeGenerate?
No, not yet.
He was on that show, wasn't he? Yeah.
Hold on a second.
Oprah?
No.
Where he had his MK Ultra his freak out?
She's another one.
Leah Remini. Yeah. She's exposed in Scientology. Holy crow. If you guys aren't watching that on TV, you need to.
I've heard a few people talk about her, and I've definitely heard nothing but good things as far as like exposing them, because I've seen a few undercover documentaries where people go in and they expose it. But if you're giving a thumbs up, I'll go check her out.
Yeah, but why would they?
We actually did an expose on Scientology back in 2000. I think it was the beginning of 2015 on exposing satanic world government. We did a couple of things. We did Scientology. We did the Mormon LDS. We did 7-Day Adventist. Of course, Christianity.
I don't know, but we need to go back and revisit these subjects. You know, with our new format, these subjects need to be revisited. People need a refresher. Obviously, there's always new information that comes to light, and people need to tie all this in. Yeah, and another
thing with these churches, you know, all these churches have two things in common. Freemasons, who are the head of the church, that are their vocal, that talk like used car salesmen. And they're also 501c3s.
Yep. That is very true.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like one of the hallmarks for any kind of government run church, any kind of government run religion. That's first off, religion. I'm not one of the key people to talk to about that. I don't believe in religion like that. Organized religion
No.
is definitely scary. And if it's government run organized religion, that is a double no.
Yeah. But you got to understand the agenda behind all this. And like they do is they expose the lie, they point their fingers at themselves, and then they go, right, look, see, it was all a con, blah blah blah. And then what they do, what Satan's plan is, after exposing it, is to then flip the script and then give a new direction, which will be the New Age religion, right? Which will be the Luciferian doctor under a new coat, and the world will accept it, right? And that will tie in with aliens again, right? They go. So then we go back to NASA, and you're going back to the Mormons, you're going back to Scientology, yeah, you're going back to theology, and all this stuff that has been secretly pushed onto us
By
throughout
voodoo.
our whole lives will all come to the fore, and everybody will be more happy to accept this new concept. Oh, we don't have to believe in God anymore because God doesn't exist, because we proved that he's a lie.
And
So,
guess who's been pushing
unquote.
that agenda the hardest these past few years? Pope Francis. Frankenpope has been pushing fears for the one world agenda, for
Yeah.
for blessing aliens, for doing all kinds of crazy things.
Oh, he said that if our space brothers come down here, he would he would have no problem baptizing them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And people saying, no, well, he's got no power because the Black Pope's got power because of the Jesuit Pope. Well, hold on a minute. Isn't Pope Frankenstein? Isn't he a Jesuit?
Jesuit Pope.
Isn't he a Jesuit himself?
He is.
Oh, there you go. So we got 2 Jesuits pulling the strings. So
Time in history that there's been 2 Jesuits in power at the same time. Yes. Here's look up on the screen about this. Pastors to help Department of Homeland Security in arrest and detention of Americans in FEMA camps.
Really?
If you belong to a 501c3 church, your pastor is keeping a file on you. He knows
what?
Yeah.
About you, and when the time comes, if you do not accept the mark of the beast or you do not toe the line, they will help the Department of Homeland Security to the FEMA camps.
It's weird. And do you know what's weird is I had somebody contact me back in 2015 whenever I was covering all of the Jade Helm 15 stuff, and he sent me a video of military people at a church that was converted into a FEMA center. Mm-hmm. I could try to find the email for you guys, but that was one of those things where, I don't know, it really stuck out to me. He sent me like multiple videos of basically like a conversion center, of like a fusion center that was previously a church, and now the military was operating out of it in that time frame and doing their wartime scenarios. So I just think that it's strange that something like this would pop up. The pastors would help DHS with citizens in FEMA camps.
Yeah, so it's right out of the Nazi play or movie. You just cannot get more fascist than this. The churches are being forced to go in along with FEMA, and with losing their 501c3 tax exemption, to prepare their communities to relinquish their firearms and obey their officials and leaders by taking Romans 13 out of context.
They wouldn't do that, would they? They wouldn't do that to their own people. Come on, that's a bit far-fetched, isn't it? What? They'd never harm their own people. What you trying to say? That they do that to you? Yeah, they would actually.
That's the sad truth, man.
Doesn't know what Romans 13, it's talking about the submission to governing authorities, but it says righteous governing authorities. We don't have to follow those that are not righteous. We don't have to follow those that are ungodly. You know, so that's how they're taking it out of context.
When in Rome, do as Caesar does. Pay your taxes and what. Yeah, but that's it. Mm-hmm. There's a line.
And here, guys, I want to try something one of these days. Dave and I do go to Houston every once in a while, and I do want to go to Joe Osteen's church, and I do want to bring my tithing, but my tithing is going to be a basket of corn and a chicken.
Yeah. When you go to Houston, have you ever had a problem? Oh, right. Sorry. For those who remember Houston, I have a problem.
What? But no, I mean, when you talk about tithing, the money, cha-ching, that's unbiblical. The only thing that is biblical about tithing is, to give a portion of your goods, your sheep, your livestock or your crops. So when I go, I want to.
And on top of that, it wasn't meant for the Christians; it was meant for the Levitical priests.
It wasn't meant for the Christians.
And they don't exist anymore. So, out of context, and give me your money, baby. It's Sunday. Where's my money?
That's right. Give me your money.
Where's my money?
That spiritual pimp trying to come out and get your money.
Right.
Yeah, bless this money. Yeah, bless this money. Yeah. Stuck a bit more on there. That's it, a bit more.
I really do wonder, like, how many priests, pastors or preacher, how many of these people that are in these positions are actually like bred in like Luciferians, bred in Masons, bred in like Freemasons, that are just brought in like sheep, like wolves over sheep, that have been that know what they're doing, that have basically signed up to commit like the surveillance, to commit to like the spiritual deception, to commit to like all of this, I really do wonder like how many of these preachers, pastors, and priests are actually like that connected. I mean, we know the priests involved with the Vatican. We know they're corrupt to no end. But I wonder how many American priests these days, or pastors these days, are incorporated in these types of operations and into these secret societies that are openly conducting these types of.
I'd like to try and answer that. I'd say at least nearly all of them, and the reason I say that is, if you go back to the 70s and you listen to John Todd and you listen to what his testimonies are,
mm-hmm.
and how
I've listened to some of them.
Yeah, how he explains it. That was just back in 1970. I mean, he's like 4 decades gone. Yeah, you can imagine how deep it's gone now. You know, who can you trust? Who can you trust? Who could you go to church and have a confident conversation about this? Whoa, you'll be going straight on a list, yeah? Or there's a good there's a good 95% chance that you could go on a list. Yeah, just for even openly speaking about this in the congregation, you'd probably be ejected. Anybody out there that hasn't actually done any research on John Todd, I strongly advise you to go on YouTube and find every single video that you can and sit and listen. And believe me,
he talks about whenever they put like whenever you have to be like a master witch or a mastered wizard, and they put like spells over like the master tracks of the entertainment industry. Yep. He talks about a lot of crazy stuff that's going on in Hollywood, but you're right. I definitely.
And again, that's Satan.
But he talks about the infiltration of the churches. He talks about how much money that he was giving out millions of dollars in checks to the evangelists or the charismatics, or this church or this outfit here and this outfit there, and basically underlying the fact that the so-called Illuminati control all of the churches. So there's a good chance that all the pastors have been replaced.
Up on the screen, Robbie, I'm showing a PDF.
Yeah.
It says Pastoral Crisis Intervention, an overlook of pastoral crisis intervention and debriefing. This has to do with the Department of Defense.
Yeah.
It's redacted. You can see it's been redacted. There's a lot of things missing out of it. But this is one part of it. And when you think about it, we all know that look at the churches right now. They're implementing facial recognition software.
Mm-hmm.
Church need facial recognition software for.
To see who's not agreeing with the sermon.
Or right. Let me just pull this up. Facial.
What's weird is I remember interviewing somebody when I had somebody for the whole separate other project that I'm working on, and he used to go to church, and he was talking about even whenever he remembers church, and because he quit going, I think a few months prior to actually having the interview and the conversation with him. But he says the things that he remember about church is nothing but doom and gloom. And then they said if you didn't basically come to church and pay, like, I don't know, like he said he made like the congregation feel shamed that they weren't like taking the time to give their money to God and realize like what times it were. I was like, that sounds crazy. That sounds like some indoctrination. Like, I get the times that we were in, but I guess the way that he was explaining it, he could definitely tell that the agenda that this guy was trying to push was nothing but doom and gloom preaching.
That's why that's one of the reasons why I couldn't go to church, because I'd end up getting a lifetime ban. I would. Yeah. Forget Facebook 30-day ban. I'd be getting a lifetime church ban. Yeah, just by opening my mouth.
Church X facial recognition software for event attendance.
Wow.
That's
crazy.
Age, gender, and ethnicity analysis, VIPs recognition, repeated client recognition, shoplifters recognition, gazing time, known suspect recognition, employee recognition. It's right here. It says new facial recognition software lets pastors know who's not attending church. Since it's not enough to believe God's watching over your congregation, church leaders now have the new tool to do that work for him. It's called ChurchX, and it's a facial recognition system that lets you know who's in the pews.
See, that's man. I understand trying to stay modern. I get that, but something about that just seems wrong to me. Like the same way, you know, the same way you bring like rock bands in the church, you know, or Christian rock bands, man. Something about that just seems wrong. It seems counterintuitive, you know. Like there's some stuff I feel like if you're gonna have a church, you know, you shouldn't do, you know, that it's all there for flashing and the extra. But if you ask me, I feel like it's also part of like a slow incremental indoctrination program to where they'll see like, all right, well, what will the people handle? Will they handle this? Will they handle that? Will they handle this? Will they handle that? You know, can they handle having a gay preacher? Can they handle having a lesbian bishop? You know, can they handle having facial recognition software? You know, can they handle having a monthly tithe workout sheet to where they can make sure to make payments on church on time? You know, can they handle having federally approved churches and things like this? You know, can they handle having their whole thing broadcasted? Like it's just slow incremental things that they're trying to do to where they make the church more worldly, and at the same time looking at the world, we're realizing how sick the world is getting. But at the same time, they're not even acknowledging the fact of that. They're just saying, hey, you need to make sure you come to church and come check out our new cameras, check out our new setup that we got going on, because, you know, we're going to be able to praise Jesus that much harder with all of this. And it's really sad because you see so many people like spiritually disillusioned to all these things going on, and it's just the wickedness of the devil.
Well, let's not even forget the fact that they're actually worshiping a fake counterfeit Jesus as it stands.
Caesar Borgia.
What's it going to be next? What's it going to be next? Is it going to be robot pastors in church?
Yep. Robo Jesus.
Robo Jesus.
Robo.
There he is right there. Caesar Borgia.
I am not mocking Christ in any way, shape, or form, but I'm sorry, but that is the fake counterfeit Jesus. That does not belong it doesn't belong to the
if you look at it also, Robbie, if you look at it, what does it have? It has the halo of Saturn around his head. Look at this. Here's another one. Look at these. The halo of Saturn. The finger above.
As above, so below. As above, so below.
As above, so below.
Can we I want to talk about Caesar Borgia real quick for people that don't know why we kind of who Caesar Borgia is, who hippie Jesus is, and why we have to make that distinction, and why they've messed with it is because they, as we talked about before in the start of the show, you know, they have messed with the Bible in so many different ways intentionally that they don't want you to find that spiritual salvation that it can deliver. And who Caesar Borgia is, I think he was one of the Pope's sons. I think Pope Alexander the Sixth.
Yeah, that's right.
Sixth, I believe.
And then his face was.
He was a lover of Leonardo da Vinci.
Yep. Lover of Leonardo da Vinci. He killed his brother and married his sister or something like that.
That's right.
Yeah, right. And then this is who they want you to worship.
And on his death, his father, the Pope, ordered a commission of his likeness to the new Christ, because Christ does not look nothing like him whatsoever, and the Bible describes Christ to a T. Yeah,
and that's whenever you get
feet like burnt brass and hair like wool.
And that's whenever you get into things like the Council of Nicaea and why they have destroyed books and why they have deliberately altered history so that they can control the future, which is now our present. And that's what we see happening. We wouldn't have to explain who Caesar Borgia is and who Jesus Christ is if these deceptions did not take place.
Hold up. You see how you put on the screen there how Jesus is supposed to look biblically? You see the pictures, the guy with the second one down, the two there is identical there. Even that is inaccurate. Absolutely.
Right.
This is the scientist has put that together. Yet again, it's another deception.
Yeah, but check this out. Now they're trying to clone Jesus. They're trying to clone a Jesus. That's what's even crazier.
Yeah. Well, I'm under the firm belief that the Shroud of Turin is not only a fabrication fraud, but could actually be an actual imprint of Cécile Borgia.
And then the resurrection of the Antichrist.
Yeah, or somebody else. Yeah.
Who's the guy up on this? Who's the guy up on the screen right now?
Sananda. Sananda.
Sananda.
Sananda.
Maitreya.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
The betrayer, the Maitreya, the false Messiah, the ascended master of the what are they called? The what's that cult called?
And
the
you got to remember,
the Raelians.
You got to remember the term Christian. There were Christians 200 years before Christ was even born, right? Servetus Christus, isn't it?
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Look at this, Master Jesus.
Master Jesus.
Ah.
Master Jesus. And who is it? Look at the
Maitreya.
Maitreya. Look at this, as above, so below.
Lady Magda, which would be Ceramesis, Mary.
Yep.
Virgin Mary.
And what is that?
I want to say it's the Raelians. I'm not sure though.
The Federation of Light.
Yeah, you go. There you go.
The Ashtar Council, the Command, the AKA, the Galactic Federation of Light. I couldn't remember what they're called. That's what they're called, the Galactic Federation of Light. And they're ascended masters. They have Lord Ashtar, Sananda, Jesus, the Maitreya. All of these names that we have for the Antichrist are right here.
Yeah, which is nothing more than whispering demons.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Because they can masquerade themselves.
Yeah. Well, you know, Satan can masquerade as an angel of light. There's no doubt that his lieutenants can also masquerade as preachers of righteousness and whatnot. Yeah. Yep. And you know, just like the Transformers movie, they can transform into anything that they want. Yeah.
And see, what's crazy is this is more of the New Age. This is the deceptive part of the New Age. This is part of them coming and preaching that false light, preaching in these new doctrines, preaching in these whole different, I don't want to say a false gospel, but they're basically coming in. They're basically coming in saying these types of things, like preaching this love, like, oh, just accept us. And then when you realize how this information was brought here through channeling, and then how all of it carries the same message, you know, it's a little scary.
You see, when it all comes, the deception is going to be so brilliant. It's going to be brilliant and pathetic at the same time, because those that have got eyes to see will see it for what it is. But unfortunately, the world isn't going to see it. They're going to believe it. They're going to believe anything. They will believe anything but the Bible, because that's how they've been told. Because the Bible has been perverted. It's been co-opted. They've tried to alter it. They've done everything they can, and they've manipulated it. But now they don't have a use for it anymore, because the agenda is so far ahead now that it's now working on its own. It's self-perpetuating. And where you go back to people that are quite happy to see videos of people pranking people on Facebook, because it's they like to do things that are not convenient.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Do you see the logo for the Galactic Federation?
It looks like a triangle outside of a Stargate.
Mm.
Yeah, there you go. The pyramid.
Yep.
With Saturn.
But yeah, I mean, that does look like a Stargate.
You've got the 5 stars. You've got the stars of the 5th age. Everything's going into the 5th age, which is the 5th age of Aquarius. The nonsense, but it's what they believe, and that's what they're going to make you believe.
So they're going to make you believe. Yep.
Yeah. and I believed it at one point.
I tell people, I always tell people, don't believe what your eyes tell you, what your ears are telling you, or what your flesh is seeing. Here's the thing, guys. If you are still in the flesh, it's not real.
No.
You know, we're told in the book of Matthew, Jesus himself tells us, if somebody tells you, if somebody runs in and tells you that I'm in the field or I'm in a secret place, believe them not.
No.
You're not going to have somebody come and knock on your door and say, guess what? Here. You're not going to have that. You're going to know it. So,
No.
if you see things outside happening, don't believe it. Do not believe what is happening,
No.
The deception that's coming is so real and so strong and so deep.
No. Don't believe anything you hear, and believe half of everything that you see.
Yep. And that's why they're messing with our senses in so many different ways. Psychotronic warfare, the distortion of our orientation, the vaccines, the chemtrails, you name it. Everything they do is just that, is to either distract, distort, or destroy.
And it's a case of GTFOH.
Get in the out. Did you catch it? Did you catch it?
Pen and paper here.
GTF. Oh, okay.
That one moment was brought to you all by the letters D, U, and H. Woo! Laurie had a blind moment there.
Yeah, that's all right. Yes, you're.
So regardless of all this, we are still human. We still have
mistakes.
That's
right.
But people, please go out and continue your research, because you might think you know it all, and believe you me, you don't. You don't even know half of it yet, because half of it hasn't even been revealed. It's even as complex as the New World Order. Yeah, we haven't even got a fraction of what is yet to be shown. Yeah, and the information is coming out every single day. You're not going to find it on CNN, I can tell you that much. Yeah, right. But the internet is still useful. I mean, if people with discernment, yeah, you can discern between what's lies and what's truth and what's half truths. And some of it you're not going to find very comfortable, unfortunately. But I'd rather be scared with the truth than comforted with a lie.
Absolutely. And I want to remind people, salvation is so important. Your relationship, your personal relationship with the Lord and Savior is so personal. And with everything happening, you need to get your houses in order. You need to get yourselves right with God. You need to, what coming is, like I said, it is so deep, it is so strong. And I was trying to find something here, and I'm not going to bother. But, just make sure that your foundation is strong. You've gotten your personal relationship. You're saved, Yeah. I can't stress that enough.
Or should we say you're on the path to salvation? Yeah.
I try to every day.
It's the path to salvation, because it's the people that endure to the end shall be saved. So don't anybody think that that's it, I'm saved, I don't have to do anything now, that's it. No, there's a lot of it. I mean, it's not saying that you got to do works to get to salvation, but the work is ongoing, right? And the one work that he was told to do was to study and test all things. Yeah, be a watchman on the wall. Yeah, be sober-minded. Yeah, I'm not saying you got to be a sour-faced puss and walk around with doom and gloom. Yeah, but at the end of the day, this is a very serious matter that is coming upon us. And people, the more that you learn, right, the more knowledge that you gain, well, the more truth that you gain, the more somber you do become, unfortunately. Because it is a heavy burden to take in all this knowledge, because it does change you. Yeah, but like Christ says, it gives you a new heart, Yeah, the truth will set you free, but we are only free within our own minds. We are still trapped within this system, and we have to go to that path of salvation for the time of Christ coming. Until then, things are going to get worse. The world is going to turn in on itself, and we have to separate ourselves from them, right? Because we don't want to be part of them. We don't, so we can see it. That's why we talk about it. At the same time, we still have to operate in the world, right? We still have to do our day to day. We still have to put food on the table. We still have to clothe our children and whatnot. Yeah, right. So we have to understand that salvation is an ongoing process. It's not just right. I'm saved and that's it. Whoa, I'm going to put my feet up now and watch telly. No, right. It's a day to day thing. This is a marathon. This isn't a sprint, right? It isn't a sprint to the end. When we've got to endure this, but we've got to do it together with some kind of fellowship, right? We can't sit in the same room together, so we have to do it via the internet, yeah, and we have to do it via our friends and family and whatnot, and we have to try and wake them up. And people are waking up, believe you me, but there is going to be a time when the whole world is going to wake up, but they're going to wake up too late. Yeah, we got to try and change that to our best of our ability. The only weapon that we've got against the New World Order, right, is knowledge of truth, right? That's all we got, and that's all we can do is try and wake people up. We can't do anything else, right? We can't fight the New World Order. Yeah, we just got to let it run its course because it isn't going to last long. Yeah, we aren't going to stop it. The only person that is going to stop it is Christ. Yeah, through his Son, through his Father, the Most High. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. That's very
right.
true. We tell everybody on all of our shows, don't believe anything we say. Do your own research. Do your own due diligence. Get out there. We give you the tools. We give you, some information, but it's up to you. The Bible tells us, study and show thyself approved. Test all things. And that's what we want you to do. That's what we challenge you to do. We challenge you on every show, information that we give you, and go research it for yourselves.
Mm.
I want to follow up with what Robbie said. Now that you're, and this is something that rings true to me for sure. Whenever you start learning this type of stuff, whenever you start seeing what time it is, understanding like your role in it and everybody else's role in it, it does give you a new heart. Just because you think you're saved and you think it's time to kick up your feet and crack a cold when you're interpreting it entirely wrong, that means that you got to go try to save other people. It's time for you. If anything, the switch is on now that you're saved. You got to try to go save other people, because if you don't, their blood will be on your hands because you knew, and you didn't do anything. So that's why we tell people to go research, to go fact check, to go make sure that what we're talking about is sound. And we're not trying to fear monger or scare anybody like that. We're trying to say, look at where we have found ourselves in and look at what we can do to get ourselves out. And we can either, it really does boil down to a choice of either saying, this is crazy. I'm not going to get engaged. I'm just going to be a mindless sheep. And then, eventually something will awaken me. Or you can say, this is enough. I have had enough. This is my line in the sand. It is time to start doing something about it. And that's all we try to do with these episodes, is to give you guys the information you need to understand what time it is, because this might not be for Robbie and Laurie, but I'll say this and then I'll let you have it, Robbie. But for me, I never had somebody out there that was talking about these types of things critically. You always had people that were making quick videos or people that were making short documentaries. But for the information at the level at which we operate, that's a lot for people, and people really do appreciate it. And I appreciate being able to operate there with you guys and to have this opportunity to talk about these types of things, because it is important, and I don't see other people talking about it. So thank you guys, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd just like to add something. Somebody just mentioned something about Christ consciousness. I'll just let you know now, the Christ consciousness is a New Age concept, which is about is unbiblical as the Holy Trinity. Yeah, people need to research these things. They need to understand these terms and whatnot. Yeah, I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. I'm not gonna try and put people down with anything that they're not aware of. But all these terms, you need to understand. You really
you need to realize that words have meanings. Words have deep meanings, and by using these, what do I say? They're the catchphrases of the day. The Christ conscious, the transcendence, the I'm going to send you good vibes, all that stuff. That's all New Age, and that's all Luciferian. That's not even biblical.
Absolutely.
And we give it power whenever we buy into their system. And that's really what it boils down to, and that's why we fight so hard to use scripture, to use Bible verses, to correlate it to you guys, to say like, all right, who in the New Age movement talk about this? Who in the New Age movement wrote a book about what we see taking place today? Anybody? No? Okay. Well, this is why it was talked about in the Bible, and this is why these things are happening. I don't see hippie Jesus saying, hey, there's going to be turmoil, but it's okay. Just follow me. I don't see these types of things. And it's because of all the language that's being put out there. It's because of the agenda that they're trying to push. They only want you to focus on the love, light, and the positivity without understanding what comes with that.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the only place we're trying to steer people is out of a ditch. Yep.
To make them not dead in the mind or in the spirit. That's what we were talking about before with these churches. They're like tombs. They're like catacombs for the walking dead. People that go in there, they're spiritually dead. They don't get it. They don't see how
they tickle these people's ears. They tell them what they want to hear. They don't sit there and tell you, here's the thing is growing up Catholic, feeling like I was allowed to do whatever I wanted during the week because it was all good, because I went on, church on Saturday, I went to confession, I was forgiven. Whatever I want during the week, go and get my sins forgiven, say 4 Hail Marys, a couple Our Fathers, and I was good to go for the week.
Nope.
Yeah. Wow. Look at where you are now. See what growth that you've come out of this.
Yes, come out of her, my people, and I did. I came out of the organized religions, and, I've come to the realization that, live in sin. A lot of people say, oh, no, you can hate the sinner, or you can hate the sin and love the sinner. Here's the thing is, once you become saved, you try to strive not to be a sinner. You try to try your best to change your ways. I didn't want to be caught in that perpetual loop of sin and forgiveness, because it's kind of like if you're a parent and you have a small child. If the child keeps doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, I think I'm going to forgive you for that.
None. No, only so many. And then you got to think about, well, what kind of lessons does that send them? What kind of message is that going to interpret, saying, oh, it's okay, you're allowed to, you can keep doing this. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You're fine. It's okay. And that's what people, I think we've talked about that before too, how that's not how God is. God is like a father. If you mess up once, and then if you mess up once, shame on me. Or if you mess up once, shame on you. If you mess up twice, shame on me. Okay. Then if you don't realize that you're supposed to have a certain level of self-ownership and judgment, then your father told you wrong. They lied to you. They want you to fail. They're setting you up because they're not letting you grow. And I think a lot of people too, even whenever you look at the church, this is also one of the things I've had to grow up with an internal conflict with. How can a man who is probably more sinful than myself, how can he absolve me of my sins? How can he forgive me of the things I've done? How can you see? And so there's a lot of different things that we have to look at, or that I've had to look at growing up, trying to find the spiritual salvation that we're talking about, because it is a day-to-day thing. Having your own relationship with God. I don't have to broadcast that on the airwaves. I don't have to tell people that I believe in God. That's for you to believe in God. You do your own thing.
Right.
But
do your own thing.
But there's been people who have in all throughout my life that have been trying to tell me how to interpret God, how to engage God, and they don't have it sounds strange, but they don't have that. I don't know. It's superficial. It's only so deep. They don't understand like the beauty of God, and for me, it is that simple. I don't want to go on a tangent here, but it's just like, I see how wicked these churches are. I get it. I understand that. Go ahead.
Sorry, the Bible tells us how God, how higher the Most High operates. Really know God because you don't know how he thinks. He tells you. You don't even try and think. I don't think like you. Right? So don't even try and analyze me, because that's a waste of time. Because I do not think on the level on any person that's ever been alive or dead. He operates on a whole different level, right? You know, he encompasses all good and evil. He's in control of the good and the evil. It says in Isaiah, you know, I form the darkness, I form the light, I bring the peace, and I bring the war. You know, I'm in control of everything. So he's in control of everything, right? So that everybody says, oh, he's the God of good. And no. You need to read the Bible, right? Don't try and second guess what you think what God's like. Yeah. Read what he's telling you who he is, right? He's already told you, right? Don't try and second guess it, because it ain't going to work. And don't try and tell other people, you know? You have to go by scripture, by precept, line upon line, a little here, a little there. You know, he's told you all these things, what to do. And, you know, people that have got wisdom will do that. But unfortunately, they like to, like you said, they like to get their ears tickled by ministers of deception, you know? And these people aren't who you think they are. You know, they are deep and they're dark, and they essentially, you know, they're either knowingly or unknowingly working for the system, which is controlled by Satan. Satan is the god of this world. Yeah,
as we talked about before.
Not for much longer, but at the moment he's still at the helm.
But
yeah,
exactly. And if you guys, if you haven't gone over to the Underground Resistance Network page to watch this video that Robbie put up yesterday, I strongly urge you to do it. It is the most powerful, truthful, or a short video of just nothing but truth. Everything we've been telling you guys, how Satan, Lucifer, is the god of this world, how he's the god of the air, the AER, the AIR, you know, everything like that. Everything that EJ and I talk about when we talk about techno-sorcery, we talk about the portals on how your technology, how your phones, your internet, your televisions, how they are portals for these entities. You know, please, I urge you to go over and watch this short video. It's what, 28 minutes long, Robbie?
28 minutes long, yeah. But there's other, as I said, there's other videos. They may be a little longer. Some of them are around about 40, 45 minutes. Some of them are an hour. They're not, you know, nothing over that. But each video for each subject matter explains everything in perfect detail. You couldn't. It's as if I'd wrote the script myself over 3 years, right? He says it in 28 minutes, right, in perfect detail. He doesn't leave anything out. Every base is covered. And it answers many questions, and also raises many questions for people to go out and research, because this is all we do, right? What we do with the pages, with the Exposing Satanic World Government, and the obviously this channel here, the Underground Resistance Network. We try to give you just enough information to spark enough curiosity to go out and go, oh, I might have to go and look that up, you know? Yeah, I didn't think that was what it was. You know, and I'm not saying we got all the answers, but, you know, we do take the time to do the research, right? And test it and cross-reference and be able to shut that out and go, no, that, yeah.
We don't just put up a video without any sources or any information other than the video. Robbie does, I mean, this is what he's gotten a system down for these 2 pages. Works. Guys, if you want information, if you see a video, if you see something, you can guarantee that, I mean, look at this. This is the video we're talking about right here. It's right here, this video, okay? Underneath that Robbie has for you guys. Scriptures, sources, I mean, everything to back up what's in this video. Something that he does on a daily basis. Here's one with Kanye. Another, he's got, you know, stuff to back this up. With the biological darkness, assault on humanity. Look at this. We've got all kinds of sources. Here's a source. Here's a source. Here's 3 sources right here. Credits to it. He gives links to it. You know, here's another one. Aleister Crowley. Look at the information that he provides you guys for this, just this one topic. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at all this information that Robbie puts together. And you've got 3 videos down here for you guys to watch to back up what he's saying, to back up what information is out there. I honestly, to tell you, and not just to toot our own horn, but I honestly don't think there's another page out there right now at this moment this much information and these many references.
In so many different diverse ways, too.
Yeah, I hope they do. I really hope that they all start seeing it and catching on and start putting all the detailed information up there. And, you know, it's out there. The information on the internet's out there for the time being. We don't know how long we got the internet, but, you know.
Right.
I mean, it's just there.
I mean, we put this information out there because we love you. Because, you know, we truly live by Ezekiel 33:6. We truly live by these words, or at least I can say I do. I know Robbie does, and I know EJ does. I mean, we do. We live by these words. But if the watchman sees the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people will be not warned, if the sword comes, person from among them, his iniquity, but the blood, his blood, at the hand of the watchman. Guys,
it'll be on our heads.
Serious. It's not our hand.
And all you New Testament Christians, let me tell you about the Old Testament. The Old Testament and the New Testament lines up precept upon precept, right? And both books are about 1 or 2 subject matters. One is the Hebrew Israelites, yeah, but one mainly is both about Christ, right? There is, it's not just obviously the New Testament is about the gospel of Christ, which is basically what this is all about. Yeah, it's about Christ's gospel, the gospel of Christ. But the Old Testament lines up with the New Testament, and they are both essentially about, right? So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? The same with the Apocrypha, right? Christ, it's all about it, yeah, right? So don't think, oh well, I can't read that because somebody told me not to read it. Read it. Read the book as a whole, right?
Read it and pray for discernment. Pray for the Holy Spirit to give you the comfort and the discernment as you read it, and you'll understand exactly. Your eyes will be open. You'll see that, you know, the holes that you had, any questions that you had unanswered while reading the King James Version will truly be answered. It was for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, anyways, guys, let's do some closing thoughts on this. We're coming up on the 2-hour mark.
Wow. What, that quickly, huh?
Right.
Still, yep.
Wow.
So, how about some closing thoughts? You know, let's get some closing thoughts on what we talked about tonight. You know, this transhumanism, this you know, CERN. We talked about a lot of things.
Closing thoughts. All I can say is definitely go back and double check everything that we said. You know, we throw out Bible verses, we throw out other things that are happening in the news, current events, and everything else. Prophecy, you know, correlation with other religions. I don't want to say mythologies, but history and everything. We talk in so many rapid fire ways so that you guys can have this diverse information to go look at, so that you can go back with the Bible and correlate and see how this is all happening. You know, don't take our word for it. You know, we do this, as Laurie said, lovingly. You know, Robbie, Laurie, the team of people that do this, we do this because we want you guys to know that you're not alone in your assumptions. That everything you see taking place, it's probably a lot scarier than you think because of what we're not being told. But ultimately, we're not given spirits of fear. We're not supposed to fear this because it's only temporary.
That's right.
Yeah. I'd go back to Genesis 6 when they say that in those days giants walked the earth, and then in those days after. Well, that was just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah, as in the days of Noah, again they come in the day of the Son of Man. So those days be. Well, basically, what are we seeing? Genetic manipulation. We're seeing the implement of technology. We're seeing the chimeras. We're seeing the degeneration of our society. Yeah, and all these things are happening again. And don't think that because we live in an age of the internet and high speed rail and all these technological breakthroughs that we are technologically advanced. We are actually playing catch up. Yeah, because what happened before and is happening now, back then it was very, very advanced, right? Because we were dealing with fallen angels. We're still dealing with fallen angels now because nothing has changed. The only thing is the script's been flipped, right? And now we are actually witnessing something, obviously in our lifetime for the first time. But this has happened before, right? Everything goes in a circle, right? So don't be surprised about anything that you see, and don't be surprised about anything they say that they're introducing, because if they're saying that they're going to transplant heads, right? They've already done it, right? If they say that there's a new technology coming out on the market, that you can guarantee that they had that for 50 years, if not before.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. So people, just go out there, use your due diligence, yeah, and just remember, everything that you see on your TV is a complete utter nonsense lie. Everything right down to your cartoons, to your soap operas, to your news channels, to your weather channel. Your weather channel, yeah. They were brought up by the Rothschilds, yeah. Why was that? Yeah, yeah. You might want to go out and find out the answers to these questions. Why is it our money system's a complete lie and a joke? Why are we in perpetual debt? Why are we in perpetual wars? Why is this? Why is that? Yeah, even down to the flat Earth. Yeah, go and research it. Even for the fact that it's biblical, the Most High told us in Genesis 1 exactly the creation of the Earth. Yeah, and the fact that we're set on pillars, that we aren't going to Mars and we aren't going to Saturn and we aren't going to Alpha Centauri, because the universe is a Luciferian lie. And if you don't believe me, go out and try and disprove me. Yeah, I'd like you to go and do that, because I would love to be disproved from what I've seen. I'm a very different person. I'm a very different creature to what I knew 3 years ago, when I believe you me, I didn't think I was going to be sitting here in front of a computer screen talking to friends of mine halfway across the world, right? Talking about the new world order and such. All praises to the Most High through His Son Christ for that. Yeah.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Wow. I do want to put out a personal request, if you guys, if you don't mind if I do this, Robbie.
Yep. Carry on.
I do want to ask personally if you guys could pray for my sister-in-law. She was in a horrific motorcycle accident late last night. Her fiance was killed instantly. She's been airlifted to a local hospital in Scottsdale, Arizona. We believe she may be brain dead.
Oh, wow.
So if we could just get prayers for them, I would appreciate it. If you go to my Facebook page, you'll find the article there. But if anybody is out there in Arizona, I'm sure you've probably seen this on the news. I guess it was very windy. They were riding side by side coming down Route 87 near Saguaro Lake Road noon, and something came out into the road, and he got pushed into her. Her bike went up in flames, and he was killed instantly, and she's brain dead. That's all I know so far. So if we could possibly get your prayers, I would greatly appreciate that for the Latini family. So, EJ, Tuesday night?
Tuesday night.
Okay, Paranormal Tuesday, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh yeah.
What's going to be our topic?
I don't know if I'll have another. I don't know if I'll have another interview for you, or if we'll be going over a few more stories. But I will most certainly make sure it's interesting.
I would like to do that. Also, I've had a couple of people message me and wanting to know more about black-eyed children.
Ooh, that is that's an entirely separate topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did tell them that that wasn't our normal Tuesday, Paranormal Tuesday conversation, but that I would talk with you and maybe we could grab something together for maybe not this Tuesday, but next month. So.
All right, I can. I'll ask the people. I'll send out the call. See if we can get some stories.
Okay. Yeah. See if we can get any stories on the black-eyed kids, black-eyed children. And that will be Tuesday night, regular time here, 9 p.m., so 10 p.m.
Oh, someone just put up, there's a riot in France. Well, what do you expect?
What do we expect?
One of them.
What do we expect? They just elected a elite. They just, God.
Well, yeah, as I said to you earlier, Marie Le Pen, right, is a part of a system which is so far right, yeah, it comes back on itself and almost comes left, yeah. And what do you expect, people? Did you really think that the New World Order was going to let France get off the hook as well?
Nope.
Yeah, you're going to see something real bad coming there, people. So
yep, we got to keep our thoughts and prayers also because they're in for a tough ride ahead of them.
Yeah, if you thought the Tories in the UK were bad, yeah, you ain't seen nothing yet. They're a hardcore version.
Exactly. So 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday night. We'll be back here with Paranormal Tuesday. We'll be giving you any updates should anything arise in this whole France thing. I don't know. Robbie will probably keep an eye on it, right, Rob?
I will do indeed now. No, I know the results. Yeah.
And so we'll be back on the air should anything anything arise. I am working during the day as always, 8 to 5 o'clock, so I won't be able to go on the air then. But here's the thing, EJ, you've got my login. Robbie, you've got the login. If anything happens, you guys take it live.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you guys might hear.
What's the date today?
It is the 7th.
It's the 7th. Okay. I think it's the 11th. True Frequency Radio. Is that whenever
you're doing your show over there?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been a
guest on Truth Frequency Radio coming up on the 11th. That is, when is that?
That's in a few days' time.
Thursday.
Yeah, it was fun.
You updated on that. I will actually maybe do a promo the next couple of days and let you guys know. You can find us over there on Truth Frequency Radio.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's just an interview right now. You know, it's our foot in the door. Our foot in the door for possibly our own segment over there, which would be incredible.
That'd be great.
That'd be pretty cool. I think one thing I wanted to mention too, while I have you guys here, this is definitely something me and Laurie have talked about. Just doing like little quick mini episodes, mini casts or something for exposing satanic world government. You know, I have, like you said before, I have the login over there, and I feel like it'd be good to kind of engage that population too of people that are listening. So we might start doing stuff over there.
Absolutely. You know what? Go. You know what, EJ? If you're so moved, take it live. Do a live. I think you can go live on the channel. You're an admin, aren't you?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Are you an admin or are you an editor?
I think I have the ability to post. I don't know what that.
Hold on.
Oh, you need to get up. You need an upgrade.
Robbie, if you don't have any objections of me putting him on as an admin,
no.
The ability to.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Part of the team.
I feel like it'd be good to engage that whole part of the crew, you know.
Yeah.
That way we can have like people over there that are looking forward to the broadcasts or people that have questions.
Now an admin.
Yeah.
Woo! Level up.
Level up, and I'm gonna put you in on. I'm gonna put you in on the underground also as an admin, so you can do both if you so choose.
Yeah.
Oh wow, we're kicking it in. All right then.
Hey, well, I mean, I've been how long on yours?
Probably since we've, Laurie, since we've taken it serious and gotten this far.
you are an editor on both Exposing and Turn. You are an editor.
Well, thank you kindly.
There you go.
Thank you kindly.
There you go, my friend. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up for tonight. I want to thank everybody in the chat room. Again, Robbie, thank you so much. EJ, thank you. Always a pleasure to have you guys both here with us here. We always get a different aspect going when the three of us are together. Can't wait for Tuesday night, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, right back here for Paranormal Tuesday with EJ Clinton and Robbie, and we will see you all then. To everybody, thank you to our moderators, Iron. I appreciate you, love you guys. Everybody in the chat room, everybody watching. God bless you all. Till next time. Bye-bye.
Shalom.
Bye. And there you have it, a number of lies told to mankind throughout our entire existence that kind of allude to the fact that a lot of things are being manipulated. As always, we try to jump all over the place and give you guys the information that you deserve, because it's out there. It's out there. Some people need to put it together. Some people need it to be said in so many different ways. And it's upon us to kind of get this stuff out there for you. As we said before, if we don't talk about these types of things, your blood is on our hands. And we take that very, very serious. But I'm sure you guys have already heard enough of us. So with that being said, I want to say thank you guys for tuning into the episode. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I'll have it in the description bar below. Or feel free to leave us a voicemail at 843-900-6296. Make sure you're checking out Paradox Radio, where you can possibly hear this episode and others. And go to our website so you can check out the Series 01 line, our new clothing line that we're launching to help support this project that we have going on. That's enough plugging. Thank you guys for tuning in. Stay vigilant. Expose lies and share truth. This is Noisera, Freedom Faction, out.